All right. Well, good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular Tuesday, December 14th meeting of the Board of Directors of Coastside County Water District. And we'll start with a roll call, please.
Director Muller.
Present.
Director Coverdale.
Yes, here.
Director Michelson.
Yes.
Vice President Feldman.
Here.
President Reynolds.
Here. All right, very good. And then let's have John. Oh, John's got a flag. John, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag.
The flag
of
of
the
the United States of America,
and to the
To the
republic
republic for which
for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
Indivisible,
with
liberty
and
and
justice
justice for all.
Amen.
All right, thank you. All right, do we have any public comment this evening? All right, hearing no public comment, do we have any directors who have anything they'd like to pull from our consent calendar or discuss before we do the consent calendar? Oh, and who did the financials? That would be
I got the
Bob.
financial report and found all to be in order.
Excellent, thank you. Does anybody have any? Oh, Ken?
Yeah, there was just one question that I had, and it was based on the report, I think, from Todd, from our water person who reports how much we've used. And the thing I was confused, so should we just pull it and then discuss it? Or do you want to discuss it right now?
I'm good with discussing it now.
Okay, does that work for everyone else?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my question was, the report was basically talking about how much water we produced. And it was a comparison, I think it's, there are 3 pages in the report. And basically it was talking about this fiscal year compared to last fiscal year. And it was showing the difference between how much water we were receiving from Denison Wells, Denison Reservoir, Pillarcitos Wells, Pillarcitos Lake, Crystal Springs, and the raw water total. And then it had an interesting feature in the report, I thought, which is the purple column, and called unmetered water. And what was surprising to me was this year, November, this fiscal year, November, the unmetered water was 3.58, that must be million gallons. Whereas last year in November, the unmetered water was only 0.93 million gallons. I wondered if anybody could tell me why there was almost 3 million more gallons unmetered. And I'm happy
Is that
question
is
to
that
be
a
answered
Kath-
later.
Yeah, is that a Kathleen or a James question?
Gosh, you tell me, but I think it's a Mary Rogren. Who do you want to pick?
Yeah.
James.
You, Mary?
Hot seat.
Part of this has to do, and I'm winging it here a little bit, but part of it has to do with what treatment plants are running and how much water we kind of dump in the process of running those plants. So if you look at November last year, we were only running Nunes. So that's my guess, kind of shooting from the hip, that due to Denniston not running, we got a lot less wasted water. It's not wasted, it gets recaptured, but it's just it's exactly what it says, unmetered.
So my question is, it's unmetered, but then do we grab it and bring it in and meter it? So
We meter it coming in, but we don't meter it going out. We got estimates. Because you got all the sample taps running at the plant. You got backwashes, you got all kinds of stuff. So we capture it coming back in. but that's the best way to track it right now.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion? Maybe
Sure.
by next month, maybe you could kind of come up with an explanation, because I don't really understand it. And so I'm happy to move forward if we put it on our agenda for something that you could kind of educate the board more about it. That would be brilliant.
I'd be happy
Perfect.
to do that. That's a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good
Thank
idea.
you very much.
I'm looking at
do
the
we
data,
have
it
any-
looked like last year's November thing is sort of the anomaly, not this year's November.
Yeah,
because
so-
that was
so
the
no, I-
lowest one of the entire year. They others all look pretty regular, so I'm not sure seems backwards in a way, so maybe they can explain it next time. Thanks.
Yeah, so we'll give the team a little while to explain it, put together an education packet for the board. And remember, we're old, so you have to go gently. All right. Thank you very much. Excellent. Anything else before we move forward on the consent calendar? And if everybody's good with the consent calendar, we'd need a motion to adopt it.
I move.
So moved.
Thank you.
All right. It sounds like Ken gave us a motion to adopt the consent calendar. And I think Bob said a second. Did I get that right?
I'll second it. Yeah.
Okay. Denise, if you could do a roll call at your convenience.
I have a comment quick, Mr. Chairman, on the.
Sure. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, there's 13 items on the consent calendar, so it does show that, we are being very thorough on our consent calendar, and as Director Coverdale just commented on one of them. So, I want the public to know how thorough we are with our consent calendar. That's all.
Thank you, John. All right.
You ready?
Denise. Yep. Denise, when you're ready.
Okay. Director Muller,
Aye.
Director Coverdale,
Aye.
Director Michelson,
Yes.
Vice President Feldman,
Yes.
President Reynolds.
Yes. Thank you, Denise. All right. Let's go on to our first item. Mary's up to talk to us about finishing. Oh, wait, these are notices of completion. Sorry, I was going to talk about the notice of completion, but we just did that in the consent calendar. All right. District Transparency Certificate of Excellence awarded to the Special District Leadership Foundation. Do you have the trumpets, Mary? Do you cue the trumpets at this point?
Yes. Now we're supposed to be joined tonight by Colleen Haley.
Point of
Yeah.
order,
Excuse me?
item 5, director meetings and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I did do
Meetings
something. I
attended,
thought I
yeah.
could
And the
let you know. I'll
consent
make it
calendar.
short.
Or the,
Okay, it's the director activities, etc. I just want to report that I attended a virtual AQUA meeting in the fall of AQUA meeting, which is both virtual and live. And the virtual people got the short shrift, and the live people, I guess they zoned in on that. So we didn't do very well on the virtual meeting, and they're going to give us part of a refund for that because the technology didn't quite come to fair. However, I learned 5 things and what I did get to see as relates to what we do here in our business. And I just wanted to mention them. 5 key issues that came up were: 1, water conservation and approaches and methods of doing it. 1, we stand very well in the milieu in terms of what we do, how we do it, and how we are trying to move forward in preserving our water going forward for the future. Number 2 was strategic planning for other water sources. And I think we're doing well there based on our local water strategy and our plan to do wells and refurbishment and potentially some new ones. So I think we stand well on that item. Number 3 was the route charging strategy and how you have to have one in the bank to be able to work forward for your charging if things get to hit the wall. We're doing that. We're doing very well at that. I think we're making progress. 4 was the capital expenditure process and strategy to make sure you're doing what you have to in capital expenditures for your infrastructure development. And generally the things that were brought up were things we're well into. And finally, cybersecurity, which is IT protection, et cetera. And we know we're very interested in that. We've done some good work, have our consultants on board, and we're all involved if we have to be. So I think for the things that I did get to be able to get around and see, we're in good shape in the district. I think we stand well with all the special districts here in California. And I just want to let you know that, because that's the only way you really get to know how we compare what other people are doing. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's go on to the next item. Mary, is any other director comments on meetings attended? Chris? No. Okay. All right, let's go on to the District Transparency Certificate of Excellence awarded through the Special District Leadership Foundation, please, Mary.
Okay. First of all, Denise, do you know if Colleen's going to join us or not?
I had confirmation that she was supposed to be here,
Okay.
but I have not seen her.
Well, I'll speak a little bit about this. So I think that, the district board and staff recognize that transparency is a key element of good governance. And in October 2019, the district received its first district transparency certificate of excellence by the California Special District Special Leadership Foundation. And the certificate is valid for 2 years. So over the last 6 months, district staff, and I'll say Denise took the lead on the effort, along with Gina as well. They pulled together a new application to renew the district's transparency certificate of excellence. And efforts included ensuring that the requirements have been met, including making sure all the board members have all their training in place, reviewing and updating our website with key disclosure items, as well as fulfilling a number of outreach requirements and best practices. So the overall purpose of the transparency certificate is to give the district an opportunity to showcase our efforts in promoting transparency. So anyway, we have received our certificate, and Denise, you may want to hold it up. I think this is a great tribute to our staff. And I also want to thank, Kathleen as well, because with all her outreach activities and things, all those, help make our website and our all of our activities very, worthy of this award. So.
Commend staff for their
Thank you very much.
hard work
And I
and efforts on getting us to be certified as excellent.
Yeah, thank you, staff. I appreciate you working on it, and I know transparency is at the heart of what this board is so proud of for Coastside County Water District, and it's something we're very proud of. Thank you, John. John, you're muted.
Muted.
Click the button, John.
Is that
Oh,
better?
there you go, John. Yeah, that's better. Now we can hear you.
Would suggest that we pass it on to the Half Moon Bay Review for a little media release.
Works for me.
And MWSD.
Yeah.
Well, whatever form it's appropriately, let them know. That's nice.
Yep.
Well deserved.
Perfect. Yep. All right. Very good. Let's move on to the next item, which is traditionally we go through for an election of board president and vice president at the December meeting. And so does anybody have any desire to, who would the nominations? Go ahead, Ken.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to make one last comment on the award. I wanted to thank staff, Denise and Kathleen and Gina. Thank you, and Mary, for pursuing the award. And I thought Chris's comment was right on target, because this was all based on a report from the grand jury called Partly Cloudy Chance of Information, which I thought might be the award that could be offered to, other groups that aren't so transparent.
Thanks for your support.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, moving on to the next topic, election of district board president, vice president. Do we have any nominations, any discussion?
Well, if asked, I would be willing to serve in a leadership position at this time.
Thank you, John.
I'm not nominating myself. I don't do that.
Fair enough. Ken, go ahead.
Well, I'd like to nominate Bob Feldman to step up into the position of president. That's sort of been our historical process, but I think that Bob's more than qualified. He's done a wonderful job. He's well-spoken. I think he drives a great meeting. And I've personally have enjoyed the years that he's served as president, because I love the way he summarizes for staff and the board what our process has been and what the direction we're. So I would urge that Bob Feldman become president. If that needs to be a nomination, I nominate Bob Feldman president for next year of the board of directors.
I will second that.
All right. I
thought you were my
nominate,
friend, Jim.
I nominate John to be the vice president.
And I would second that. And I think historically we have voted on both president and vice president in one vote. And is that true, Patrick? I believe we can do that.
I don't remember, but you can certainly do that.
And at this time, we could close the nominations.
Yes.
Perfect. I'm in. All right. Is everybody good with that? Let's see, Ken, John, Bob, Chris, we've all heard from everybody. If everybody's good with that, then let's go for a roll call, Denise.
President Reynolds,
Yes, I'll say yes.
Vice President Feldman,
Yes, I'll say yes.
Director Michelson,
Yes.
Director Coverdale,
Enthusiastically, yes.
Director Muller.
Wholeheartedly approved. Just don't tell my wife yet.
Excellent. All right. Kathleen, we have a board of directors report on the water shortage, and this is the most read map I think I've ever seen.
Yes, it's become quite popular. I'm seeing it more even on television stations and news reports and everywhere. A picture is worth 1,000 words, as they say.
Wow.
So I guess the biggest news is that we were anticipating this, but it came to be. San Francisco on November 23rd declared a water shortage emergency, which triggers BOSCO member agencies going into a tier 2 allocation agreement. And so the next step is San Francisco is going to be sending us what our official allocation is by each month. Sometime before the end of December, hopefully mid-December sometime. And then we have until December 30th, I believe, if we want to make any adjustments to the monthly allocation. It won't change the total, but we could give 1 month more water and take it away from another month if we wanted to. So we're anxiously awaiting that. We think we know what it's going to be based on the information already shared with us, but we like to wait for the official documents. And the other thing that was kind of good news is San Francisco shared with us that since we've started to get the rains, there's been a lot of strong messaging in the Bay Area. They have seen their total deliveries to their wholesale customers and their retail customers decline down to 153 million gallons a day, which is exactly what they wanted to see. Is they wanted to see all the irrigation being turned off and to get get the demand numbers lower so that this would help with their storage issues. And then also we received news in November that the State Water Resources Control Board is going to consider adopting emergency regulations on January 4th. And these will be things that were similar in the last drought that they did, where they prohibit incidental runoff, they require shut off nozzles on garden hoses, they prohibit using potable water to wash hard surfaces. They don't want potable water used for irrigation of turf in medians and public right-of-ways. So those areas in a lot of urban areas between the street and the sidewalk. So we will look at what they finally determine on January 4th and incorporate any of those prohibitions in with any ordinance that we create for our customers, for our service area. And also we will incorporate whatever San Francisco provides us as our allocation. So if you have any questions, I think that's basically the end of my update. Yes, John Mueller.
Yeah, since we have a professional like you on this evening here, I've been asked a couple of times, and it does cross all of our minds, how does a landlord deal with tenants carefully that are exceeding the limits of their water? And people are asking me that, and we're kind of living it also. And so it's been very sensitive, and just your professional opinion on what you recommend.
Oh, I'm not qualified to recommend to get in the middle of
Patrick to answer that.
And maybe that's an attorney question of what their rental agreement or lease agreement says. That's the important document with any, between the tenant and the landlord. And the district customer service is constantly dealing with some conflicts between landlords and tenants. And unfortunately, we don't have much power between, or much advice we can give them if they've already signed an agreement or any kind of contract. So
yeah, it's kind of my experience talking to people. Most of individuals don't have that agreement about water conservation, unfortunately. So that might be something we'll have to look at down the road if things continue to be this serious with water conservation, for
yes.
share with landlords.
Yes.
Just a thought.
And it goes the other way too. We get a lot of tenants complaining that their contract says they need to irrigate. And then they're paying for the water. So it goes both ways.
Thank you.
It's important to have a good agreement up front. That's for sure.
Very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ken, go ahead, please, and you're muted.
Oh, good. I remember how to unmute. I'm so excited. Hey, Kathleen, the question I had for you is could you interpret a little bit more what it means to take water from one month, give it to the other month? What did you mean by that?
So we're going to get an allocation from San Francisco, and I'm not sure how that's going to look. Like they can give us in million gallons per day. They can give it as a whole, a water budget for a whole month. And So and they're going to try to adjust it for the season. So in theory, during high irrigation months, they would allow more water versus in the winter months, they expect irrigation to be off. And they're going to look at our past purchases too in determining that. And so we'll have to, since we've never seen this before, it's going to be new to us. So we'll have to look at it when it comes and see if we want to make any adjustments to it. But in the end, it may not make a big difference because they're going to really, at the end of the fiscal year, that's what counts, is how much water we've purchased for that fiscal year in total.
So you think we might actually be banking water potentially? Say we really conserved in the month of, let's say March or April, that it's possible that conservation could serve us well in, say, July or August or something like that.
Definitely.
Do we get to negotiate on that?
Negotiate, we'll see if we're able to negotiate, but they're definitely allowing us to bank. So whatever we don't use, whatever's underneath our allocation, we could use that water later on if we need to. Yeah,
that's great news.
Mm-hmm.
I'm delighted.
Yeah, and what you are pointing out is the value of Denison to us, which gets us through those months, those late winter, early spring, maybe even, in a good year into summer. So Denison is going to be really, really important to us.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Given the rain, we will have water in the bank there too, going forward, hopefully.
Yes.
So, is it possible, Kathleen, to give us real-time updates as you get any clarity on any of these things over the next month prior to the next meeting? I'm not sure you'll be able to, but whatever you learn that is like a milestone that says here's something you learned that's going to affect us. Any way of distributing that to the board in an email or something? I'll just ask.
Yes,
wait till the 11th. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure Mary will, when we get our allocation from SFPC, I'm sure Mary will share that.
Yeah.
We'll share that with the board.
Any updates you can give us
Yeah.
as you get them real time would be great. At least we know what we can be prepared to consider. And we'll probably be talking to this at January 11th when we discuss drought rates and stuff, based on how things are standing at that point. So, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Kathleen. Yeah, I read in the Aqua, they published a really sobering graph on where our average reservoirs are and what it'll take to get the state's reservoirs back to normal. And we would have to have a wet year, an above average rainfall to make it out. So it's not, that's pretty sobering. Okay, thank you, Kathleen. And so we'll, I appreciate the report and looking forward to hearing more from you. All right, Mary, we have a proposed water shortage contingency stage rate discussion and frequently asked questions.
Okay. So at the November 9th board meeting, the board approved scheduling a public hearing on the proposed amendment to the district's rate and fee schedule to add water shortage contingency stage rates and an SFPUC pass-through wholesale water shortage rate. And the board authorized issuing a notice of public hearing to be held on January 11th, 2022. So that notice was mailed out on November 24th. And subsequent to that, we started receiving questions from our customers. These rates are a new concept. I think that, they're difficult to understand. And so we put together this FAQ document about, with the common questions that we're fielding for our staff to use. And then also we posted these on our website so that if customers want, have questions, our customer service staff can tell them to go look out on the website as well. So, we thought this was a good opportunity to share these FAQs with the board. I assume that you might be getting some questions too about what water shortage contingency rates are. So Kathleen and I are available to answer your questions.
Do you have any rough number of calls you got, or questions or emails or anything? Any volume? What was the numbers?
Kathleen, what do you
Was it
think?
like more than a handful, or I'm just trying to get a flavor.
I think it was definitely more than a handful. We haven't totaled them. Some got forwarded to me. Some the customer service staff was able to handle themselves. So we haven't totaled them, but it was definitely more than a handful.
I'm sorry.
It was
more than a handful. I mean, it was more than we normally get for our distributions and our rate notes and things like that. I was expecting, up to sort of a number. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's more than, it's whenever we send out any kind of written notice, we get feedback.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not. Well, I think the question and answer thing looks pretty good.
Mary, may I ask, did we not get a change on question number 3, just said recently?
Yes, I did send out a new version today. Patrick had a little tweaking of that question. But basically it's really more of a clarification. We have gotten the question of when do water shortage contingency rate stage rates end once implemented. And so, basically we're saying on that it's when the water shortage situation is determined to be over, or no longer, or we no longer need to implement the water shortage contingency plan, or earlier with the board determining we're able to meet our financial obligations. So also in terms of the addition to that question was if the board may change the water shortage contingency stage during a water shortage situation, either going a higher stage or a lower stage, and then we could implement a different water shortage contingency stage rate with that change in what stage water shortage stage we're in. I know that's confusing.
That's good.
Any other directors have any questions on this topic?
Nope.
Oh. And I think it is important that you have addressed well here that this is not a penalty. This is just to equitably make sure that our customers all understand the restrictions imposed on us by our wholesale vendor, San Francisco, and so that we're distributing that out to the customers fairly and equitably. And so it's in no way a penalty. So thank you for putting this together. Go ahead, Ken.
I just wanted to thank Kathleen and Mary and whoever else in the staff worked on this. I think it's really good to try to address these issues quickly. And I think that the answers are very complete. And I think that it's a way of making people feel comfortable, like they're not just getting something, jammed down their throats. And I really appreciate that about staff's effort. I think you guys are very proactive at keeping people in the loop and, making sure that they realize that, they're involved in the decision-making. It's okay to ask questions. And, I just thought maybe at the end there, comment that said something like, these are the questions that we feel are most, asked or most useful, but please don't feel the only questions. If you have other questions, please contact staff and we'll do our best to try to answer anything that you're concerned about with regard. I think sometimes in the fact sheets, people feel a little bit like, well, these are the 10 and that's all you get, And, so sometimes it's good to give them the opportunity to ask more and
I think they deserve a certificate of excellence for transparency.
Yeah, and
Excellent.
like Ken's saying, this could be a living document. If we see a question being asked repeatedly, if this is not fixed at 10, we could add an 11th or a 12th if we see the same questions coming up. So this is a living document for our customers to better understand the severity and of the upcoming drought, potentially, hopefully, but only potentially at this point. So our customers better understand how we operate and how we deal.
Now, this is on our website, correct?
Yes, we have it on our website.
Is there any way to, is there any rationale to putting it out with a mailing or something as a building addition or something for people to get and that distribute to make sure they see it? A lot of people don't look at the website. I'm just asking, it's up to you. Any way to get that information out, which does not require them to electively find it. That's because it's a good fact issues. Thank you.
We can talk about that.
Okay.
Maybe a note on it. Could be a note on our bills too. So.
Yeah, or something. Look at the website so they know where to look for something. Basically, not all people know that. Thank you.
Excellent. Do we have any other items that the board? Oh, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I just wonder if I could ask James a question while we have him.
Sure.
Yeah, so we were driving by the Pacific Ocean today and noticing the chocolate milk flowing into the Pacific Ocean. And my question was just at Denniston during these kinds of rain events, are the turbidity levels just like unbelievable, or how do they compare from pre-storm to start of storm, middle of storm, end of storm? Is it okay to ask that, Patrick?
So not under this item. When we're done with this item, there's director agenda items and requests. You can ask a question there. So if we're there, this is a great time to ask that question. James can answer it.
I would say that we're now ready for director's comments and questions and agenda items. So I would humbly suggest that we now are at that stage.
James, do you need me to get that read back from the meeting reporter? Or?
No. I was just waiting for the timing there. Yeah, Denniston Creek is as chocolatey as the ocean is, if not worse. I've got pictures of it from yesterday. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to put your hand in it and see it a foot away, but it clears up quickly. And before a storm like that, we open the big slide gate and just dump what we have to make room so we don't overspill the reservoir. And I've talked to Todd and Sean about graphing how long it takes for it to recover based on rainfall. Sometimes it's 3 days, sometimes it takes a week for it to settle down before it can fire back up.
Wow.
Good question.
And numerically, is that from 0 to 300%, 500%, or is there any way to just kind of put it in sort of a numerical relationship?
I'm sure, I don't know the turbidity number from today. I'm sure it's well over 100, probably several hundred NTUs. We don't even consider really starting up until the source water is down to 30.
Wow.
Because a lot of stuff gets stirred up when you fire up pipes that have been sitting.
So 6 or 7 times.
Yeah,
Wow. Thank you.
sure. And
I
I can
hope
get
that-
more info to share because I think it's very fascinating as well.
Oh, I think it's just incredible to understand, because we see the rain and of course we're all singing, dancing, right? Like just put it in a bucket, put it in the tank. But
John-
it's a far cry from that, isn't it, James?
Yeah.
It takes, nature takes time.
John,
Thank you.
you had a question or comment?
Yeah, just a couple of brief comments. Number one comment on that subject we're just discussing. I've always felt that the number one environmental issue other than the climate in the world is sediment. And if you look at the world statistics, whether it's sand or whatever, and what we've just faced here and what I've seen losing my field today, yesterday, sediment is a huge issue. Our cover crop got in, but without rain, it doesn't germinate and we didn't irrigate. So, and when a storm comes through like that and it overflows on the creek banks, that's sediment going down, exactly what's happened in Denison too, from the mountains. So that's one thing that's, if I was king, sediment would be the major issue in the world for that. And number two, if I may, Mr. Chair, I don't want to step on your meeting here. Is this tonight's last meeting for our wonderful staff, Denise? And if we could get an update there, please, within legal terms. I'm not sure for sure when Denise is leaving.
Oh, December 30th is my last day.
So it's coming up very quick. So from my perspective, unfortunately, we've never had a personal meetings together, but you've always been very supportive of all of us and myself in particular. So thank you very much and wish you well on your next journey.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you. Yeah, seconded. Yeah, I agree. Thank you very
also
much.
Thanks from here too.
Yep.
Getting all my certificates in order.
Thank you.
James, I had a follow-up question. We've had challenges in the past with the road up to the dam with erosion along the bank, and we've had some sort of stressed mid-storm repairs, et cetera, along that. And so my curiosity was piqued. How did that hold up during the storm?
Excellent question. Darren was back there yesterday. It was a little dicey. After I saw some of the footage, I asked him and the crew to get out. They went in today and they were pleasantly surprised. There's pretty minimal damage.
Oh, good.
Which shocks me. And not really even the road that goes up to the Stone Dam. There's just some sharp turns in the watershed that I was concerned about. And it really, I think, indicates that the work that Jim Steele's helped us with, we haven't had repeated failures in one spot.
Oh, good.
It's helped us with repairs. It really has helped the watershed in a very forward-thinking way.
Oh, good.
And
Yeah,
the Denniston Road is doing, the new road to the tank is held up fine.
Oh, good.
And then the road to the plant needs a little bit of work, but it held up really well.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I got the sheriff's notice that 92 was closed, and my first thought was, oh no, how's our road up to the dam doing? And later I found out that wasn't it. But so I'm really glad to hear that our roads and infrastructure, we've worked really aggressively to improve in an environmentally sensitive manner those roads and access points because they do serve our infrastructure. And so I'm glad that they're holding up as we get this good drenching. So that's good news, and my thanks to all the staff for their hard work on monitoring and maintaining and upgrading that.
You're
Ken,
welcome.
go ahead.
I also want to mention Darren and I were looking at the gauges, and I don't know how accurate they were, but at one point yesterday, Pillarcitos was doing 160 CFS.
Excellent. That's a lot of water. Surf's
a
up.
lot of water for that little watershed.
Yeah.
Come and look behind our house at our field. I'll show you where the water's moving.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Surfing comes to town.
I
Perfect.
just wanted to take 30 seconds and tell Glenn, thanks so much for serving as president this year. You've done a great job. It's really been a pleasure. You know, the meetings aren't as much fun as they used to be because we're not, you know, I'm disappointed that you never got to slam the gavel because I know that's one of the reasons you like to serve.
It's true. There's been no gavel pounding. That
Yeah,
it's
I'm
totally
sad about that for you, but
Yep.
you know, hopefully you can pound some stakes in for some fallen trees in the garden, or you know,
There you go. Yeah.
maybe stake your plane down in the next big windstorm or something like
Yeah,
that.
no
But
kidding.
thank you very much, and Bob, thanks for always being ready to fill in when we needed
Perfect.
you. Yeah, great
It's a
leadership.
hard act to follow and put things in good
Thank you.
order.
Thank you
So
too.
I'm gonna have a tough job trying to keep up with Glenn this next time. Thank you. Good job, Glenn.
All right. Well, it takes a team, so we're all at wits. And I actually would comment that this is an amazing team, and everybody brings something to the table, and they bring it to the table eloquently. And so you guys really should be very proud of the job that you all do in making this organization run smoothly. So it's a great team to be part of, and I'm very proud of that. John, you had something on there?
Yes, I think along with the rest, we have to thank you and congratulate you on your wealth of knowledge of the water world, and much appreciated and very valuable to all of us and staff. And I think that's wonderful, and also has been touched on a little bit, but boy, when can we have an in-person meeting in life again? I did have one Saturday for the first time with the Citizens FBI Academy, which was quite an interesting meeting that we were actually be able to talk to each other. Interesting. So we're hoping we can pull that off with the new chair coming up here in 2022.
It would be, I'm looking forward to seeing the backside of COVID, I'll tell you that. Do we have any requests for future agenda items for next month? I know maybe formally, just to wrap it up, we asked staff to look at explaining how our water's tallied up, and at a future date when they're able to do that. Did any other staff have any thoughts as to what you'd like to see? Ken, go ahead.
I'd really like to be sure that we agendize the fact it's okay for us to hold a Zoom meeting instead of meeting in person. I'd like to agendize that for the next board meeting.
I think that's you mean put it on the consent calendar or put it on the agenda?
Wait, agendize which? I didn't hear that.
Ken, I missed.
I'm sorry. I was attempting to bring some levity to the meeting.
Oh, I didn't hear. Well, I didn't. I want to be
Got
living.
Yes, I hate to say it, but we're required to have it on the agenda every meeting. So,
Oh,
yep.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Be sure you have it on. You should have it twice.
All right,
So I
Chris,
wanna
you've
wish
been awfully
Mary and
quiet
Jim-
today. I think it's your turn to chip in with an agenda, with a director's agenda comment.
Yeah, sadly, I don't think we're gonna be sitting at a board table until 24 at the earliest. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's what. And
Yeah.
you know,
Still tough out there. Absolutely.
Yep, it is definitely.
and I'm not scared. I would sit down tonight. So no, I'm not the problem. The problem's in Sacramento, but that's another.
Right.
Ken's got his
Hey,
mask
another way to
on.
go. I wish
All right.
Mary good luck tonight at the planning commission, I guess.
Yeah,
It should be
and we
no
should
brainer.
get off
Jim,
the
I'm not
phone
sure
so
if
that
you-
All right.
Mary can go. 'Cause
Good luck.
Mary's on.
That's why we have
Mary's-
another meeting.
Yeah, Mary's only got 9 minutes to hustle over there. So let's close this meeting and adjourn this meeting so Mary can get on to her next one. I'd like to wish everyone a happy holidays.
Oh, come on,
Denise,
say it. Merry
say-
Christmas.
Merry, okay, that too.
Merry-
Merry Christmas.
Happy
Denise, good
holidays.
luck
Stay
with your
safe.
future endeavors, and we'll miss you, and thank you for your service. And to the staff and team, thank you for a great year. It's been a really stressful year, but you guys have done an amazing job, so thanks to you all. So we'll look forward to Bob
Hear,
leading us
hear.
forward in a new year next year. Thanks,
you, Glenn.
everybody, and good night.
Thank you,
Thank
Glenn.
Take care.
Bye
Thank you.
again.
Merry
Everybody.
Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, Bob.